I'm Lily, and this is my story, one I never imagined I'd tell. As I stood at the altar, surrounded by flowers and the soft murmur of our guests, an unease crept into my chest. Mark, the man before me, looked perfect in his suit, his eyes locked onto mine with what I believed was love. But something wasn't right. Throughout the day, Mark's phone buzzed incessantly, messages, calls, each one causing a flicker of tension to cross his face. I caught a glimpse of one particular message from someone saved as E that read, "Don't do this. God will not forgive us." Chill ran down my spine, but amidst the whirlwind of vows and celebrations, I pushed it aside, convincing myself it was nothing. We had met just 10 months ago at a charity event. Mark's handsome face and charming demeanor captivated me instantly. Despite our different backgrounds, me from a wealthy family and him from a modest, middle-class one, I was smitten. I proposed to him, eager to start our life together as quickly as possible. He accepted without hesitation, and I was elated. But now, on our wedding day, the constant buzzing of his phone, the tension in his eyes, felt like a sign I had ignored. He'd glance at the screen, then quickly shove the phone back into his pocket, forcing a smile. He assured me it was nothing, just pre-wedding nerves, but the pit in my stomach told me otherwise. After the ceremony, as evening fell and Mark was in the shower, my suspicion grew unbearable. That message replayed in my mind over and over. Unable to resist, I grabbed his phone, recalling the password I had seen him enter earlier. My heart raced as I read through his messages with E. The latest one was from just after the ceremony. "I did it. Don't worry, now I can pay for it. God will forgive us, I'm sure." I scrolled further and saw more messages every day, all from E. It became clear Mark needed money and he had married me to get it. Just as I was grappling with this revelation, another message popped up. I fainted again. St. Lawrence Hospital, room 45. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just about money. There was someone else involved. Without thinking, I deleted the message. Mark emerged from the bathroom, a content smile on his face that now seemed deceitful. Clutching his phone, I confronted him, my voice barely steady. "Who is E?" His face paled, eyes wide with shock and a hint of fear. "Lily, it's not what you think," he stammered, reaching out to me. I pulled away, anger bubbling to the surface. "Not what I think. You used me, Mark. You married me for my money." Tears blurred my vision as the weight of betrayal pressed down on me. He tried to explain, words tumbling over each other in a desperate attempt to justify his action. But trust once broken, hard to mend. Gathering what dignity I had left, I began packing my belongings, ignoring his pleas and apology. I needed answers, but not from him. Determined to uncover the full truth, I drove straight to St. Lawrence Hospital, the address from the ominous text message etched in my mind. The hospital's sterile corridors seemed endless as I searched for room 45, each step heavy with anticipation and dread. Finally, I stood before the door, taking a deep breath before pushing it open. Inside, a frail yet beautiful young woman lay on the bed, her pale face turning toward me with a mix of surprise and recognition. "Lily?" she asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Is it really you?" Confusion washed over me. How did she know my name? I hesitated before replying, "Yes, I'm Lily, Mark's wife." Her eyes filled with sorrow as she nodded, seeming to understand. "You must have found out everything." This was Emma, Mark's E. She revealed the truth to me. Emma and Mark had been together for 12 years. Childhood sweethearts whose lives had been intertwined since they could remember. A year ago, Emma was diagnosed with a severe illness requiring expensive treatment they couldn't afford. When I met Mark, he was desperate to find money for Emma's treatment. When I proposed, he made an unthinkable choice: to marry me in order to save the woman he truly loved. Tears glistened in Emma's eyes as she spoke. I begged him not to do it. I didn't want anyone to get hurt because of me. But Mark, he couldn't bear to watch me suffer. My heart was torn between anger, sorrow, and an overwhelming sense of betrayal. Mark had deceived me, but looking at Emma, fragile, fighting for her life, I couldn't bring myself to hate her. I left the hospital, my mind a whirlwind of emotions. When I returned home, Mark was waiting, looking defeated. "Lily, please, let me explain," he began, but I held up a hand to stop him. "I met Emma," I said quietly. "I know everything now. I'll transfer the money for her treatment, but after that, we're done. I want a divorce." Mark looked up, gratitude and sorrow evident in his gaze. "I don't deserve your kindness." "It's not about deserving," I replied softly. "It's about doing what's right." I packed my bags, transferred the money to his account, and walked out of the life I had thought was real. In the following days, I arranged for Emma's medical expenses to be fully covered, ensuring she received the best possible care. As weeks passed, I received news that her surgery was successful and that her health was steadily improving. Months later, I arranged a beautiful wedding for Mark and Emma, gifting them the house I had bought to live in with Mark. I realized that true strength comes not from clinging to what isn't yours, but from knowing when to let go. By forgiving Mark and Emma, I set myself free to write a new chapter in my life.